me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine. Give me that green light. Give me that green light, Maine.
This episode of Greenlight Maine is sponsored by the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development, the Maine DECD, helping businesses and communities prosper.
Good morning. Welcome to Season 5 of Greenlight Maine. This is so much more than a TV show. This is a platform to promote startups and drive Maine's economy with a prize package of $100,000. The entrepreneurs that don't win, they gain exposure, and to date, more than $15 million has been invested in companies since they have appeared on the show, and that is just what we know of. Today, we have a great lineup for you. Box of Maine and the Maine Pie Company will pitch off. And later, we'll sit down with the Department of Economic and Community Development to learn about all they are doing to move Maine forward. But first, let's meet the people who will be working with today's company. First, I'd like to welcome Charlotte Mace from DECD, and we're just happy to have you here.
Thank you, Julene. My name is Charlotte Mace, and I am the Director of the Office of Business Development for the Department of Economic and Community Development. And at DECD, we're very committed to helping Maine businesses start up, grow, expand, and survive over the long term, because we know that healthy businesses and a healthy economy in Maine makes for healthy communities.
Awesome. And you recently were named one of the 50 most influential people in Maine by Maine Magazine, so congratulations for that.
Thank you.
And next up is a familiar face, Derek Cashman. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Julene. Thank you for having me. Derek Cashman. I work with Cross Insurance in Bangor, Maine, and I insure businesses throughout New England.
Nice. And finally, welcome Toby Payne.
Thanks, Julene. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Toby Payne. I am a partner at Sandler Training in Portland, Maine. Sandler Training is a global leader in sales management, leadership, and sales training, and we work with a variety of companies of all sizes to help enhance revenue quickly in the right way.
Nice. Great panel today. We're looking forward to talking to you in just a few minutes. But first, I'd like to introduce our first company of today. We have Daniel here from Box of Maine. This is beautiful. We can't wait to hear about it. But congratulations, you recently won the big gig. Tell us about the big gig.
Yeah, so I work out of the Upstart Center for Entrepreneurship, and they approached me and said, hey, we have a pitch competition connected with the University of Maine. Would you be interested? I said, sure. And I got to go in. I didn't make it for the first pitch, but they brought me back for the first time as a wild card, and I came back and I won $5,000, so I'm very thankful for that.
All right, so hopefully you're on a roll now.
I'm ready to go.
Okay, so whenever you're ready, these are very nice people. They're here to help you, and you can just begin.
All right. Why do 37 million people from all over the world come to Maine to visit each year? I believe it's because we desire to create good memories and experience all of what makes Maine the way life should be. Hello, my name is Daniel Finnemore. I was born and raised in Maine, and I am the owner of Box of Maine. Growing up in Maine, we went camping at state parks. We drank Moxie and cooked red hot dogs over the campfire. We visited agricultural fairs and bought fresh blueberry pies off the side of the road, went hiking, fishing, and so much more. Now, these are my good memories, and they're invaluable to me. But sacrifices had to be made along the way. My father did everything he could to raise 3 boys while running his own business. He showed me that it does take sacrifice, but it also takes hard work, discipline, and most importantly, an entrepreneurial drive to succeed. Unfortunately, after over 20 years in Maine, my father moved away to soon find out that he couldn't get those favorite Maine foods that he loved and missed. So my father and many others like him are who Box of Maine was created for. So what is Box of Maine? Box of Maine is an online mail order business for someone that has either lived in Maine, spent time in Maine, or they want to see what makes our state so amazing. We take the essence of Maine and we package it up in a convenient, affordable gift box, and we ship it right to your front door. Yes, sir. You can enjoy foods from your childhood again, like wild blueberry jam, pure maple syrup, and chocolate whoopie pies, to name a few. We have over 80 Maine items to pick from 40 businesses who we've developed great partnerships with throughout the whole state. So as we grow, they grow. Maine supporting Maine, helping create jobs. In addition, we have a flexible pricing structure to help accommodate our customers in choosing either a 5, 7, or 10 item box, all at different price points. And they can pick and choose and build a unique gift box to send to someone they love, a friend, family member, or even a deployed soldier overseas, customizing it to how they want to send it. So this idea is now a proven model. We've sold 6,000 boxes last year for a total of $250,000 in sales. That's a 200% increase from the previous year, and we're on track to hit $500,000 for 2019. But we need your help. As we grow, we're desperately needing more space. So if I were to win Greenlight Maine, the first thing I would do would be to get a larger facility and hire additional employees. So my question to you is, will you join me on this journey as we bring Maine back to your front door?
Great job. And yes, we will join you on your journey. So let's kick off the questions with Charlotte.
Great. Well, I love this. I grew up in Maine, so all of these products are familiar to me. Can you talk a little bit about your existing sales channels and how you see them diversifying in the future?
Sure. So we have a well-established website, boxofmaine.com, where most of our traffic goes through. But we're also on some other online platforms as well. And we do a lot of trade shows and business to business.
Derek.
So you mentioned Daniel, a larger facility. Where are you selling out of now?
Currently, I'm out of the Upstart Center for Entrepreneurship. I've been there for a year. I was in my basement for a year, so it was a step up from my basement, but now I'm ready for something bigger.
Okay.
Toby.
Daniel, I've got to tell you, great presentation. You've got an incredible amount of conviction, passion, and energy. It really shows, so shows how much you believe in your product. I got to ask you, I believe you said there was 37 million people a year. Did I hear that right, that come into the state?
Visiting Maine each year.
Visiting
Yes.
Maine. So let me ask you, how are you tapping into the hospitality industry, hotels, marinas, perhaps ferry companies? How are you leveraging that in order to help with your channels?
Good question. So the products really sell themselves. So I reach out to, people in those industries, as you mentioned, and I just tell them about the box. I tell them about the experiences, my story behind it, my drive and sales. And people are very interested. They love it. They love sending it as a gift. Everybody sends gifts.
Can you talk about your long-term plan? Because I can already see this going in all 50 states, college campuses to alumni. I mean, you have so many different channels here.
Like one of the judges mentioned, there are so many different avenues, whether it's weddings and the hospitality industry and so many more. So people have been approaching me, and it is awesome. There's so many different areas, and I'm excited to scale it up, to start building a bigger team, and to be able to get Box of Maine to everywhere.
Excellent. Great job on your pitch. So we need to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, but if you or someone you know is interested in starting a business, we have so many resources on our website, so you can direct them to greenlightmaine.com for more. So when we come back, we're going to be talking to the Department of Economic and Community Development on all that is happening in Maine right now. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
I truly believe that if you're going to do something better, you got to start by innovating. Think about how to solve for a customer problem in a way that's quicker, different, and more customer-centric. The bank's promise has been fundamentally the same from the beginning till now, and that's ensuring that all that we do is making the lives of our employees, our customers, and the communities better. And it's their better, not what's defined as our better.
At Sutherland Weston, it's not just about being persuasive, it's about being prepared. Too many agencies get excited about how to gain attention, but not what happens next. We know what happens next is really the important part. That's why we've had 15 years of continuous growth. As a responsive, problem-solving, creative partner, one who's not afraid of accountability, responsibility, or what happens next. Looking for a creative strategic partner? Let's talk.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine. We get to get out of the studio today for our Sunday morning conversation, and I am lucky enough to be joined by Commissioner Heather Johnson of the Department of Economic Community Development here at the beautiful Cumberland Club. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
You have done so much in such a short time in the first year of this administration. Can you just tell us about what you've been up to?
Yeah, you know, it's been a really exciting time. People have been great to just embrace this administration and the work that we are starting to embark on. You know, we've started to develop a 10-year economic plan because we think we need to have a roadmap so that everybody can plug in and figure out how they might participate in our economy.
Absolutely. You did a great job talking about that at the recent Eggs and Issues. And it's all about, you know, connecting people. A really hot topic is broadband. Everybody wants to know all about it. And I know that's your area of expertise.
You know, broadband comes up in almost every discussion we have about the strategic plan, and over 600 people have contributed to the plan over the course of the last few months. So broadband and connectivity is really how you engage in a global economy, right? You can't execute in a global economy no matter where you live if you're not connected. And so we're seeing that as kind of the lifeline for rural communities. We're seeing it as a competitive advantage for urban markets. So it's helpful to everyone. But if you think about connectivity, you can think about healthcare services, you can think about education services, you think about economic opportunities, you think about distance learning, you know, and you think about being able to age in place and really create value as opposed to just consume.
Absolutely. Another vision for you is workforce development, especially in rural communities. And you are from Skowhegan, and there is so many good things going on in Skowhegan right now. That's a perfect example.
Yeah, you know, this workforce attraction piece, and how do we retain our talent, and how do we think about economic opportunities for the students in our schools and the students in our universities, and how do we create a pathway for people to make career changes if they choose to, right? There's all kinds of opportunities in Maine. We just don't always tell people about them. And, you know, Skowhegan is a great example. There are some great young entrepreneurs doing interesting work and really working together so that as they consume things from Skowhegan, and then they use their products and each other's products, and then they can collectively market, collectively attract talent, and really grow local economies, which is a great example of how rural development can work.
Awesome. Well, yeah, and you have to think about all of Maine because it all works together as one.
We do. You know, we see opportunities creating a lot of tentacles out into other places. And so being connected, having workforce streams and systems that allow people to have mobility are really important.
Great. Well, thank you so much. You're so busy. Do you ever get to do anything for fun?
I do. Yeah, I have a 9-year-old, so we get to do a lot of fun things. We have a camp on a lake, and so we're in the summer swimming and wakeboarding, and in the winter we're skiing. For sure.
Well, thank you so much for being here today. Good to see you. We got to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Furniture for Greenlight, Maine is provided by Thomas Mosier Furniture, handmade American furniture since 1972.
Reaching new customers online is hard. You've tried Facebook, Google Ads, email. You even built a website 10 years ago. You're way too busy to focus on digital marketing, and you're not getting results.
At Dream Local Digital, that's what we do. We've helped businesses nationwide grow with online marketing. We're the experts. Let us help you.
We're very proud of the products we make and the way that we make it. The most important features of our original dog vest are in its design. Traditional lenders, they steer away from unproven track records.
In you come. Hold up.
CEI gave us the opportunity to build a track record, show that our future path will be more solid than our past.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine. Our second company is the Maine Pie Company. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you.
I was just reading a great story about you in the Press Herald. Tell us about it.
Yes, our company won the SBA Micro Enterprise Business of the Year Award. We were really excited about it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to Greenlight Maine. Whenever you're ready, you just look right at the judges and give them your pitch.
Okay, thanks.
Sure.
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you. My name is Jill Miller, and I'm the managing partner of the Maine Pie Company. My husband was diagnosed with celiac disease long before anyone had ever heard of it. Over the years, whenever I would make pie for my family, he would eat the filling and leave the crust. If he ate the crust, he'd get really sick for days. And at that time, it occurred to me that nobody makes a gluten-free pie. At least nobody makes a really good gluten-free pie. So I started experimenting with different flours and came up with a crust that tastes so good you won't know it's gluten-free. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. In my previous life, I was a CPA, and I left the corporate world and opened up a wholesale retail bakery. There we would make large batches of pies and bake them off as we needed them. That is the same business model that I use for the Maine Pie Company. The Maine Pie Company manufactures artisan gluten-free pies, tarts, and pie shells that the consumer takes home and bakes themselves for an always fresh dessert. We use only the premium ingredients, and we source from Maine and New England whenever possible. We don't use any additives or preservatives, resulting in a clean, non-GMO nutritional label. Our pies have been both certified gluten-free and kosher. We can be found in over 700 stores in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic and are expanding into the California market. Our e-commerce and our food service are gaining momentum, and we are working on a single-serve gluten-free pocket pie that we will launch in 2020. Gluten-Free and More magazine voted us #1 gluten-free pie of the year, and our pie shells were voted #1 by Eat This Not That. It was estimated that gluten-free sales in 2018 were $17.5 billion and are projected to grow at a rate of 10% annually over the next 5 years. The Maine Pie Company has a 3,000 square foot facility in Biddeford, Maine, and we're ready to take on some more growth. If we were to win Greenlight Maine, we would take the proceeds and invest in the sales and marketing aspect of our business. We would invest in 3 things. We would invest in people for sales, we would increase our social media platform, and we would attend more trade shows. Since our inception 5 years ago, we have made over 235,000 pies, and we're on target for an additional 100,000 this year alone. Now that's a lot of pie, and we're ready to make a lot more.
Great job. That is a lot of pie. Good for you. Great company. How many employees do you have?
We have 6 right now.
Nice. Okay, let's kick off the questions with Charlotte.
Great. I can say that when it comes to cake versus pie, I am team pie all the way.
Good. We'd like to hear that.
Absolutely.
So as you already know, certifications are huge in the food industry, and especially as you're pursuing other markets, California market, for example, do you feel any pressure to add some other certifications to your label, organic or vegan, for example?
Well, our pie crust is so good, and you don't know that it's gluten-free because we're not vegan, because we use only butter. And that is what makes it good. Now, I know that vegan is becoming more and more popular, and more people are eating vegan, but that is such a much smaller niche. Maybe down the road we can do that, but right now, I think the niche is too small for us at this point.
Okay, Derek.
Jill, you mentioned if you were to win, you would focus on 3 areas of growth. With your employee base currently, do you feel there's a weakness with sales? Is that why you were focusing on that area?
Yes, I do the sales.
Yeah.
And that's why, and even though we have a really robust social media campaign, we could work with more bloggers and influencers, and we could attend a lot more trade shows. It's just, trade shows are very expensive, as you know, and it would be nice also to have somewhat of a sales force, on the streets, because there's nothing like, one-to-one.
Sure. More support.
More support.
Okay, Toby.
Yeah, great. Great presentation, Jill.
Thank you.
And from what I hear, to set up a plant that's celiac friendly, gluten free, there's a lot of red tape, right, certifications you have to go through. So great job. Just to counter off your question, In terms of hiring salespeople, you've got 700 stores right now. Who would these salespeople be calling on and why?
Well, they would be calling on individual stores and, adding, giving support to the stores. Sure. Seeing where the product is placed in the store. But also they would be, there's what is called category reviews in the food business. And they would be working with our distributors and our reps at our distributors and acting as an interface between our distributors and the buyers in the large chains.
Very good. I feel like we learned a lot about your company and what your needs are, so great job. We need to take a quick break, but when we come back, our judges are going to talk this out, so you don't want to miss this. We'll be right back.
Broadcast facilities are provided by Husson University's NESCOM, the New England School of Communications.
You know, I believe in business today there are too many experts and not enough expertise. I think there are too many promises and not enough follow-through. Those things used to be the norm, but now they're the exception. At Sutherland Weston, we work hard every day to be that exception. We've had 15 years of continuous growth, and I'm proud of that. I think if your business is looking for a creative, responsive, problem-solving partner, if you're looking for the exception, I think we should talk.
We're honored to be Greenlight Maine CPA firm sponsor. Maine is home to a range of businesses, from startups that you might see on this program to closely held businesses and organizations that operate internationally. ARB's advisors are providing savvy solutions to complex issues for sophisticated and growing businesses of any size across Maine and throughout New England. And we're doing it the way you want Mainers to, guided by our local, sensible values.
Albin, Randall, and Bennett is a proud sponsor of Greenlight Maine.
Every business person should have what I call your XYZ statement. It articulates what your business does in 2 or 3 concise sentences. It's something you can use in a variety of places, including when you first meet someone in a networking setting or on the homepage of your website. Having an XYZ statement on your homepage can help people visiting your website know whether they are in the right place or not.
Thanks, Nancy. That's great advice for our entrepreneurs. Now, the moment we've been waiting for, our viewers at home want to know what you guys think. So let's kick it off with Box of Maine. Daniel did a great pitch, didn't he, Charlotte?
He did. I was very impressed with Daniel, and he knows that there's value in the Maine brand. I think we all know that, but he has also tapped into a sort of nostalgia about Maine, because so many people have vacationed in Maine, and yearly, as he pointed out, 37 million people. So I was very impressed with the uniqueness of his idea. Yeah.
Great idea. Yeah. I mean, can you just see people going into a hotel and an inn and saying, I have to bring that home with me?
Well, and I think that's the thing. I think Daniel's potential there for growth is almost unlimited because it's not just the tourists that are coming into the state. There's so many young people that move out of the state. And so you have parents willing to send boxes, and whether it's seasonal or a one-time type thing, his potential there is pretty large.
Absolutely.
Completely agree with you guys. I think Daniel has picked a very interesting market. I can kind of relate, being English, right? But being a tourist, maybe I'll leave with something here today.
That's right.
But yeah, Daniel has done a great job. I really, truly believe he understands the market, and he's demonstrated in the last 3 years going from 0 to 6,000 boxes. And I think on the upside here, there's an incredible amount of opportunity in both tourism and hospitality. But I also believe that brings another set of challenges, and that's him being able to get the systems and processes in place, right? People getting a bigger facility, and there may be a time he needs, funding to help him with that too.
Right, growing pains ahead.
Exactly.
All right, let's switch gears now and talk about Jill from the Maine Pie Company. We all got to taste that excellent pie. What do you think?
Jill was very impressive. She's making a handcrafted, and as she pointed out, artisan product, and that's very unique. And she has a lot of reach in her market with the gluten-free, and I think there's a lot of demand for that. So I was very impressed with her, and I did have some questions around how that market might expand over time and who she might reach with it, but I think she has promise.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time with them off camera, getting to know them. You had a great conversation with her about a lot of different things. So Walmart was one in particular that was great advice.
Yeah, I think maybe her biggest challenge is just being able to get that sale through out there, because not enough people know of the Maine Pie Company. The name is great. You know, it speaks to what we have to offer as a state, but I do think she's going to have some growing pains with getting the name out there a little more aggressively.
Agreed. Jill has done a great job. She's obviously in some quite sophisticated distribution channels, Hannaford, for example, and I believe she's now, what, 700 different locations and stores.
Yeah.
And so she's having great traction and growth, but also it appears that perhaps she doesn't have the right system. She certainly doesn't have enough people. She's stated that she wants to sell, and I think that's gonna be definitely a challenge.
Yeah, great comments. Great job, you guys. I always say I'm glad I'm not the judge because you always have a tough decision. All right, when we come back, we're gonna find out who gets the green light. Don't go away.
In 1972, Tom Moser committed his life's work to craft, and 4 decades later employs 70 fine craftsmen and women in our shop in Auburn, Maine. With showrooms and customers from coast to coast and numerous awards and accolades, Tom has firmly established himself as an entrepreneurial tour de force and has proven that a life doing what you love is indeed possible.
Reaching new customers online is hard. You've tried Facebook, Google Ads, email. You even built a website 10 years ago. You're way too busy to focus on digital marketing, and you're not getting results.
At Dream Local Digital, that's what we do. We've helped businesses nationwide grow with online marketing. We're the experts. Let us help you.
Whether you're a small business or a big business, whether you're cutting edge or looking at a traditional industry in a whole new way, whether you're on the coast, in the city, a small town, wherever. If you're an organization here in Maine, if you want to innovate, and if you want to grow, we want to support you. We're the Maine Technology Institute.
MTI is a proud sponsor of Greenlight Maine.
Welcome back to Greenlight Maine. We had 2 companies that represent the Maine brand so very well. It's time to find out who the winner is. Judges, who's it going to be? Congratulations to Daniel of Box of Maine. He is moving on in the competition. Well, that's all the time that we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you right back here next week after Meet the Press. Have a fantastic Sunday. Congratulations. Great job. Come on over.
Greenlight Maine has been brought to you by the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development, the Maine DECD, helping businesses and communities prosper. Greenlight Maine would not be possible without the support of all of our corporate sponsors. Thank you.
Greenlight Maine has been a paid-for presentation by the Portland Media Group.